Yeah, so maybe today I'll discuss on how to authorize or authenticate APIs. Okay, so before going to that, so we have some common terminology. Let's discuss all these things. Okay, session, token, cookie, and if you use any other words similar to these things. Okay. uh, so this one initially I'll not give exact definitions because those things we can read in the documents. That's fine. Here I'll take use cases and I'll explain basing on that. Okay, let's see. So basically majority, so it's a standard login flow. Let's see how it works. So this is actually a standard login flow is basically session based login. So in the session based login, what normally on the flow is user is give a credentials, user enters it, that's basically login, and that information so username or password, whatever it is. Let's take as a standard use case, whether it's a bank or financial things. Normally we'll use a username and password, right? So those credentials will coming to the app server. That is a login request. Excuse me. Those credentials will go to the data. So see, those credentials we retrieve from the database using a username, because in the credentials we have a user ID, right? So basing on user ID we will get the credentials, we will get the request from the database and we will get the response. We got the credentials. Now we have a two credential at app server, correct? One we are getting from the user and other we are getting from the database. So we validate that. Oh, sorry. We validate credentials. After successful validation, it generates a session. Okay, so that generation is a unique ID. That's session ID is a unique ID. That's a combination of lot of things. Let's assume it's a 32-bit number, and the number is a 32-bit string. You can take 16-bit also. There is no hard restriction. Okay, after generating a session ID, see the generating session ID is happening at app server level. Okay, application level. After successful generation of the session ID, we are storing that session ID along with username. Basically we are maintaining a session table in the database. Okay, so the same session we are sending back to the user. Okay, see the flow at the same session is sending to the user and sending storing in the database. And the consequent request after login successful, for each request user needs to send new request with that session ID. Okay, so that session ID will receive in the app server. So from app server, basing on a user ID, we'll get the session ID from the database. Okay, and if the session ID is available, he is a valid user and he is a valid login actually, so his active login is there, then we'll process that request. Any questions here? This is how normal standard way of handling a login flow in the application, whether it is a web application. Let's take this normally it used to be in web applications or financial domain earlier. Okay, after mobile application comes that this process changed. Let's see in this thing what are the advantages and disadvantages, what is happening. Let's see. So this is normally so standard flow. So basically server creates a session, that session is stored in a cookie, that cookie is in that cookie. So anyway we used a cookie here, that cookie is a client side. Cookie is basically storing session information, some sensitive information in the browser side. Okay, cookie is always a browser specific. Whenever you are referring to cookie, it's always a browser. Okay, so in earlier days before mobile applications evolved, so all we used to use browsers, right? So browser to store sensitive information and to append the sensitive information to the each request. A browser is having a uh, internal process using these cookies. Cookies is basically key value pair and some combination of sensitive information. Okay, and the limitation with this this flow is this is stateful. So what do you mean by stateful? Stateful means we are generating a session and we are storing that in a database. That is a state here. Storing a value is a state. Basing on that value only, we are going to process, right? So that's why we'll call it as a stateful. We are storing session ID in the sessions table, or some table, session table and the corresponding username or user ID to map it. Okay, that is a limitation here. So why stateful is a limitation? Let's say, so next point is scaling issue. If number of active users are growing, your sessions table is grow, right? So let's say you let's take a financial domain, or let's take a Black Friday, something like that. During that time, so most of the people will try to log in, right? Let's say in that time, active users, let's say 1 lakh users, 1 lakh active users. That means 1 lakh session IDs you need to maintain, right? So and if you are maintaining a session ID, you need to frequently you need to retrieve from the table, and continuously you need to write into the table. So this is going to be hard, not hard, it impacts the login service or performance. That's where scaling is an issue. And so because the session is storing in a cookie, so cookies are not supported in mobile app or API based applications. And that is if you are storing in a cookie, that is basically browser specific, so it's a tightly coupled. When you are designing a system, you should not make systems tightly coupled. You should make as independent as possible. Okay, so these are the limitations of session based login. Any questions here? Are you guys following?
Yes, Chandra.
Okay.
This session will be permanently will store, or some time it will be expire.
Okay, so that is a good question. So that is basically how we are going to handle that. So normally the thing is that when I was working in DBS, so initially we used this session based login. Whenever a user logs in, we'll create a session and store in the session table. And that session will have, whenever you are inserting to the session, right? So we'll have a expiry. Maybe the duration is 20 minutes. Okay,
Depending on the
so
applications, depending upon the like banking sector will have different session timeout, right?
yeah. So no, timeout is different. Okay, timeout is different, session expiry is different.
Release.
Okay, timeout is normally that is in the front end side when the user is not doing anything after login in an app, sitting idle, right? In that case, normally we'll take a timeout, maybe 90 seconds or 2 minutes or 1 minute. That is idle, that's a timeout. Okay, so here we're
Yeah.
talking about session. Whenever you're creating a new session, normally we will have that session validity. That session validity, let's take a half an hour. That session ID is validity is half an hour. Okay, so that session ID is validity is half an hour. So whenever user logs out, right? So that logs out request come to the server, and at that time we are going to delete that session. That is a happy path. Okay, if user or customer is not logging out and he just logged in, he did some process, after that he did not log out, in that case we have a session out, that is timeout for expiry date for the session. So for that we'll have a separate cleaning job. Okay, that is offline process, maybe every day how many inactive sessions are there, those things we will do in a separate job to clean it unused sessions. Okay, any questions here?
Then how we come to know that it is not usable? Like
That's what we have a expiry date, right? Whenever creating a
okay,
session ID, we'll have a
with that
expiry
it will be
validity. Yeah,
expired.
so maybe half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, we'll have that.
Hmm.
Okay, so after that when we have a cleaning job every day in the midnight or early mornings or something like that, off peak times, we'll run that job to clean the sessions.
Okay.
Okay, so that is a cleaning. Otherwise whenever user logs out, you can clean that. That is actually happy path,
Hmm.
right?
Correct.
So this is how it works. Most of the financial applications will use this session based thing. Okay, and okay, you are clear here. Great.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So because it is having a limitations, all these things, then those limitations, as I told, stateless. Because if number of users are going, we need to make it more effectively. For that, we need a stateless authentication, and it should work mobile apps, because earlier it used to be only one application. So nowadays we have a lot of applications, right? Mobile, web desktop, or maybe some other tabs, right? And some people may use their integrate in their web applications, right? So these kind of scenarios also it should work, and you should easily scale, because nowadays users are growing suddenly, users will grow in that case. So we need to handle. Okay, so to overcome all these things, we have a concept called token. Okay, so let's take a token and real time example. Did you ever see a token based system in offline, outside, not technical, non digital scenarios? Any examples? Where did you see tokens these days, apart from technical point of view?
Hospitals.
Hospitals, okay. Any other thing? Well, let's take a hospital example then. Can you explain a scenario? What you how you will get the token in hospital?
For appointment, doctor's appointment.
Mm-hmm. Apartment you will take an online, right? Or you going to offline or taking there?
Yeah, users will be many.
Uh-huh.
To consult a doctor, they'll provide a token.
Right.
Not
Right. So let's take that. So why they are taking a token, giving a token. One thing is to track, right? One
yeah.
thing is to track, and another thing is to send them in a sequential order, right?
Yes.
Maybe so then they just say a token. Okay, so they'll call the token and they will go. That is one way of this thing, right? Similarly, so token means we have a authority. When you get the token, right, so you can directly, we can command them, right? So I have this token, you are not calling me, right? We can do that. So that's a kind of authority you got. Whenever you got a token, you got the authority, right? And you can ask, see, my token is 10, but token number 15 is processing, what about 10? Like that you can ask, right? So this is one scenario. And another one, in the hospital, this basic, instead of hospital we call it as a clinic. Clinic is just a consultancy, right? Let's take I'm not sure whether you experienced it or not, but 10 years back in Chennai, when I went to Apollo, they generated 5 to 7 QR codes, okay, with the same token. And initially they you need to go to some 7 counters For each counter they have given a QR code, right? It's the same token, maybe my ID could be that. So you can directly go, once this one counter is completed, you can go to another counter and another counter. There you don't need to tell anything, you just say the token number, and maybe you can show that receipt, right? This is one kind of token advantage. Here they will not validate whether you are paid the amount, whether you are new customer, a new entry. They won't verify that. They will verify, so they will check the payment at the time of entrance. After paying the amount, they will give you a token. That token with the 5 counter numbers. You just directly go and show them the token number and they will process it. Here they will not verify your authenticity, right? So with that token, if that token is given to some other person, and that person will show that token, they will process it, they will not verify. You're getting my point? Guys, you are getting my point?
Yes, Chandru.
Yeah. So that's a kind of thing. Once you have a token, you got the authority, and that token. So even in hospital also, if you go to the clinic, you got the token or maybe some number. That number is valid for that session, right? So let's say you went in the morning, you got the token of 10, and you cannot say after going to you cannot say my token number is 10 in the evening session, right? Even evening is a different token system. So
Right.
whatever the token number you got in the morning, you cannot use that in the evening. Evening is a completely different tokens. Maybe that number is assigned to some other person. Okay, but you have a token, so that is any number or unique ID. That is the advantage. Once you get the token, you will get the authority. Okay, so similar way for this thing in software also we have a token concept. Okay, so a token is basically unique string. So you see, used to represent the identity. Okay, identity and session also you can say, or instead of or you can say identity or session of a user for that particular application. In this case, in a clinic, in the morning you got a token number 10, that is your identity for that particular session in that clinic. Okay, that is a clarity, the definition of the token, definition of your token. Okay, it is having a identity, and for that particular application or information or whatever you call. Okay, so that means token contains some information. So that is what you need to understand. Token contains some information. When you say 10, so if you go to the reception, if you say 10, basing on 10, they will identify. So 10, they will go to check in the notebook. Okay, 10 means who? So this person name is this one. So are you this person? So they will confirm and they will send you inside, right? So the token is having some information. That is the key here. So basically token is a stateless, right? So you're not no need to store some information on the server. Okay, that is one of the biggest advantage in these days, because these days applications are growing suddenly, right? Rapid growth. So in the morning, let's say Black Friday kind of days, so the user base will change suddenly. Maybe let's take peak time of cricket match, right? If you observe Geo or another thing, right, we are seeing number of users 1.5 crores, it suddenly becomes 1.8 crores, suddenly becomes 2 crores, right, at the peak time of the match or situation. So that is a rapid growth nowadays. So users will increase suddenly. To handle that, so stateless is a better approach. So obviously scalable, right? So scalable if you are having a microservices architecture. Okay, so in that case it helps a lot. and cross platform like web application, mobile application, APIs. So most of the things normally we'll see web application, mobile application, but in the back end you heard about B2B, B2C, right? These words, what are B2B and B2C? Any? Did you heard, guys? Can you respond?
What's on the
B2B, we'll call as a B2B, B2C.
business to customer
Right, business to customer and business to business.
business?
Okay, web application, mobile application, normally business to customer. Okay, so mobile application, let's take Rapido is a B2C. The customer is directly using that. Okay, whereas APIs is open AS, normally we'll call them, it's a mostly they are B2B scenarios. B2B in the sense, well, let's take in phone pay. In phone pay we can able to pay fast tag bill, right? Fast tag we can recharge. So FastTag recharge is developed API. FastTag is a business, and that API is used in a phone pay. Okay, phone pay is a business. That is a B2B. Those kind of things. Those things normally will use APIs. Okay, so these are the kind of different scenarios. And self-contained. I told you, right? Token is having some information. Okay, internally it is having, whenever there is a given a token, so without telling other thing, it's having some information. Token 10 is belongs to some person that is defined, so that is having some information. Okay, it is having an expiry. ID is obviously token number, it's having an expiry. So two things is, one is expiry, another one is a user detail information, like expiry. And in the example of clinic, session is the expiry, morning session is the expiry, and you cannot use that in the evening session. That is one. And it is having a, if you say token number 10, the 10 corresponding name or something should be available. Okay, and like that, the role, basically role is a patient, right? So those kind of things. So this is information. And permission, you have a authority, right? You have a right to ask. Let's say your token number is 10 and 11 is processing, you can ask, so why my token number is 10 and why you are processing token number 11? Okay, you have that authenticity. Okay, and it's a lightweight, and it's you can easily validate. Okay, so see, so the thing is that no DB lookup, that is the main thing. We are not going to store the token information in the DB. That means, let's say you have a 1 lakh users, active users, you no need to maintain a session table, and for retrieval and storing all the stuff, right? All that information is going to avoid, that process we are going to avoiding. That is a no DB lookup, that is an important thing. Anyway, we have expiry, so signature I'll explain later, but normally it's a lightweight because we are not looking into the database table. That's why it's lightweight. So basically it's it automatically expires, right? Built-in expiry. They'll not say so let's say you went to the clinic and they have given a token number 10, and they will not say, hey, this is going to expire in 1 hour and this is going to expire. They'll not say that, right? But it's a default thing is expires. It expires for that session. You went to in the morning session, so you got the token number 10. Nobody see, no need to tell that it is going to expire for this session, right? So it's everybody knows that's kind of built-in expiry. So distribution is easy, okay, easier for distribution. So token system is also, so distribution, because nowadays all systems are cloud based, and so it is integrating into multiple services. So all nowadays 99% of these applications are cloud based and microservices. Okay, so when you are having a microservices, we need to distribute the data. So for that it will work. Okay, so now this is all. Oh, sorry, I to come out of this one. Okay, do you guys have any questions here? Okay, let's see. So yeah, any questions?
Yeah,
Hmm.
these tokens will not be saved in server, right?
No. Token should not be saved. Yeah, if you save, that's a different thing. It's a business scenario. If you really want tokens, okay, you need that. But normally you should not store. If you are storing, and it beats the purpose of scalability, right?
Uh, I mean, how do we
Huh.
compare it when user calls for a request?
Okay, right. That's the question. That we'll discuss. Okay, yeah, that's a point. Oh, that's a right. Let's take. Anyway, you asked the question. Let's take a thing of clinic. Right? You went to the hospital clinic. They have given your token number 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, when you say token number 10 to the reception, what they will say? They will do.
They will serve you.
Huh? They will not serve anyway. You are here, you are normally they will not serve. First they will check in the notebook, right?
Yeah. Okay.
They will check in the notebook for the token. They will not check in the database whether you are a patient or not. They will not check that, right? Whether you are available in the database. They will be having a number of patients, right? They will not check there, but they will check in the notebook, right? That notebook has having less information. In that notebook they will check the token number 10 and the corresponding name they will check, right? And they will verify that name. Okay, are you this person? Then they will send you, right? That verification is less time. That verification, how you are going to implement it here, I'll explain that. But that verification is quick, right? Instead of saying okay, so going to the database and searching the information and getting it, whether you came or not, no, they will not verify that. They will verify whether the token is belongs to you or not. They will check that only.
Even though we need to save that token, right? In that case also.
No, we are not saving that token. Okay, saving some information, right?
Yeah.
Saving some information. Basically you are giving a 10. That 10 they are verifying, right?
Yes.
How they are verifying is the question. That verification is simple. That I'll explain. That's basically they will use a secret. Okay. So checking with secret is simple. That's what I want to clarify here. I'll explain detail in the next coming slides. Okay.
Secret key, you're telling secret means?
Right. Secret key. Secret means secret key. I'll tell that. Okay. So now, so we are talking about tokens, all the stuff, right? In your application development, there are different types of tokens. So mostly there are two tokens. We are going to use that in our development. In most of the microservice development, we'll use that. So we'll see that. One is an access token. Normally we'll call that access token. Okay, access token is token anyway. It's a unique number. Okay, access token is also a unique number, unique string, maybe number or string depending on the application. It's a short time validity, normally 5 minutes to 15 minutes. There is no hard rule. So this will be sent to the customer or client after successful login. That means after successful login we are creating a token and we are sending back to the customer. After successful login, that is an access token. That will say active token also. And after login is the token is received from the login success, for every next API call we need to send this one. Authorization bearer header is there, right? You might have used that. Authorization header or X token, you can call it whatever header will take. You just send this information for each request after successful login. That is an access token. Okay, so this access token is a client side token. It's stored in the client side. It will not be stored in a server side. Clear? This is a standard token. Maybe this access token we can refer to JWT token, right? And there is another token called refresh token. This refresh token is it's a long time validity, some days, weeks, months also it will have a validity. Okay, so this could be sent to the client, or so normally we can keep at the server side. So this is generated after successful login. So that means basically after successful login we are creating a two tokens, access token and refresh token. Access token you can directly send to the client, and refresh token depending upon the application, so we can store it in server, or you can send back to the client. There is no restriction. This refresh token is to create a new access token if expired. Okay, so let's take a real-time scenario. So you are using a Gmail in your mobile, right? So mobile you are using, and when is the last time you logged into the Gmail account in your mobile? Did you guys remember?
Mm, two, 2 months back.
2 months, 3 months, we don't know. Maybe, right? So that is because once you logged in, okay, your login is success. After that, so this kind of refresh token, you no need to log in again. So token is there. Maybe the token is valid for one day. Next time, if you try to access your Gmail, access token is expired. Then because of refresh token, it will automatically creates a new access token because refresh token is valid. Okay, so this is a kind of thing. So maybe sometimes after 6 months, maybe 8 months, again, yeah, that email may ask you to relogin or to relogin because your refresh token might be expired by that time. Okay, you got the scenario, right? So the use case of access token and refresh token. Any questions?
Chandra, where will you store this refresh token on the server side?
So here that's a good point. I'm expecting that question. So when you are storing that refresh token in server, again we need to maintain a table like a session table or some table to maintain a refresh tokens. Refresh token the corresponding user ID. Refresh token corresponding user ID. Okay. If you store that in a server side, if you are sending to the client side, so anyway we no need to store it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, if you are storing refresh token in the server side, it's a kind of session scenario. You need to maintain a what table.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? See, guys, you need to understand the concept. Forget about the coding or implementation. Okay, so this is a concept. You need to understand it. Yeah, we are talking about all these advantages. So are there any disadvantages? Let's see. Obviously, if we are using any concept or a tool or technology, we have pros and cons, right? So let's see what is the limitation. See here, we need to update the secret regularly because this token we are generating basing on some logic. That logic we need to update regularly. Here, that is a secret key. So if the secret key is compromised, your whole system will be compromised, right? Let's say in banking, so you are able to log in with a so login is returning an access token. That access token is created basing on a secret key. If that secret key is compromised, so anybody can log in and do it. Okay, that is the limitation. Any questions, guys, try to ask more questions if you're not clear, or is it fine? Okay, so let's say, so this is a token. So let's see what are the existing flows which are using token. Let's take one by one. So most of the popular thing nowadays everybody is using is a single sign-on, right? SSO. Let's see how SSO works. See, in real time you are not going to implement this SSO, but you need to understand this concept. So obviously user so try to log in. See, so now login request is going to app server. App server is asking to validate, right? See, in the previous session, for session based thing, whenever you send the login request, that login is directly going to the database to retrieve the information, whereas here it is not validating the thing, it is asking to validate it again, validate that request. So now validate request, and it will send identity information. Here identity is in any IAM tool. Okay, it could be so let's take you are using a corporate Microsoft Outlook, right? Outlook login. So for Outlook login in your company, for all the services, maybe HR, payroll, maybe service support, all the stuff, you are using only Outlook credentials, right? Can you confirm that, guys?
Yes, Chandra.
Others?
Yeah.
Yeah, so because the identity service is same for all these services, so that's why this app server, let's say app server here in this case, you are checking your mail, Outlook, oh sorry, mail you want to check your mails, then your mail server will request for authentication, and then request for authentication, and it will also send identity server details, like see, this is the IAM server, send the credential to that server, then user is sending the credentials to that server. That identity server normally will call as IAM. Okay, so now what IAM will do, validate credentials and then generate a token. So when you are generating a token, it's having a user information and expiry, right? It's a default. That information, so a token we generated, that token is we'll call as access token, that is with user. Now we got a access token. Now we'll pass that access token to the server, app server, with the request. So this token will be sent to the identity provider, IAM server. That token is having information, right? User information and expiry. First it will check for expiry and then user information, and if that so basically validating a token. Once that is done, it will got the success, and we got the success response. Any questions here? So see, initially we discussed session, then we generic token information, then we are using SSO, because SSO internally uses a token based system. Okay, see, sometimes if you after next day if you try to log in again, it will expire, you need to re-log in again. This is the same scenario, right? This is how single sign-on works. So this is also token based system, but it's having a different modules, user, app server and identity provider. So everything, token generation, validation, everything is happening at identity provider, that is basically IAM server. Okay, so SSO is authentication. So basically it allows authentication with the identity provider, basically IAM server. It will help to gain access to multiple applications, right? So multiple applications, that is basically in a corporate it's a big MNCs, right? Will have a different application, HR system, support system, right? So like the payroll system, all the different kind of things. So normally this implementation is for enterprise logins because it's having a multiple applications. Okay, so enterprise login, it's the same login for multiple applications. If you want to, let's say if you're starting a company and in that you have multiple applications, if you want to use the same login, so this scenario will work, right? So not good for small scale apps. See, so this is also one thing. So you need to, because you are getting experience, right? When you are getting more experience, you need to say where you need to use, where you should not use as well. Okay, so those are the two things. When you are suggesting something, you should give some information. Okay, use this one because of these things. You should not go for this because of these points. So SSW should not be used in a small companies because it's having only one application or less people. In that case, you go for one, right? Yeah. Any questions here? Are you clear?
Yes, Chandra.
Okay. Guys, you should also respond. So because these are concepts, right? Programming anyway I'll ignore, but these concepts you should respond. Okay, so now let's go to this one of the token based system. Let's go to another one. Okay, OAuth 2, this is also very popular one, right? OAuth, open authorization. This is also token based. Let's see how it works. User is obviously, so here it's not about login, it's about accessing a resource. Okay, let's take a scenario. It's a kind of you have a document that is in your Google Drive, and normally that Google Drive you are taking the link and sharing it with the people, and if they are trying to access that document, will they able to access that document? Guys, can you respond?
If authorized person, then only they can access.
Right, one is authorized. How do you know that? So we are generating a link, right? So while generating a link, we'll say whether it's a public or private or on request based, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so this is the one of the scenario. So if you don't have a permission, if you try to access, you will get the request access denied, and the request will go to the owner, and the owner will respond approve that, then you will get the access. This is the best scenario for this OAuth 2 protocol or method, whatever it is. Okay, so whenever user is trying to access a resource, that resource link, maybe Google Drive link, that will request for the resource access. Okay, so then whenever they request for the resource access, so if you don't have permission, it will ask for the approval. Okay, so we'll get the approval from the auth server, not third party app. It's coming from the approval request is coming from the auth server, that is basically Google Drive, and that means in that case Google. Then once you approve it, owner approves it. So so whenever you approve it, we'll validate the credentials, right? So only owner should approve it. So for that, to confirm the ownership, we'll have a validations. After validation, we are granting access to the third party app. Once you get that one, you're requesting a token, right? So the token will have a validity. So we'll generate the token and we have a access token, so that we have a resource access. Okay, any question here? See, this flow internally it happens this one, but all this is happening in a quick time. But so the scenario is basically this is one of the token based flow. So here we're generating a token. Token is having a user information and expiry date. Those are the two things we need to remember: user information and expiry. So this is the authorization protocol. It works on tokens. So obviously the same thing. Allows user to grant one app limited access to their data on the other app. Okay, so let's take Google Drive. So if you want to access that Google link, maybe Excel sheet, Excel, if you want to access in some third party application, so we are going to use this kind of scenario. Okay, any questions here? Okay, so this scenario is basically if you want to store information in one app and if you want to access in other app, you'll go for this flow. Yeah, so this one of the example is okay, so accessing friends information, Google Drive files. Yeah, now so for final things, this is one of the main for us because for backend developer you should understand how JWT works, or how JWT token flow works. Let's see how JWT token flow works. Okay, then we'll see what exactly is JWT. That we'll call it JWT token. So let's see. User login will get the credentials. At the app side, we'll get the credentials again from the database. See, this is a login request. First time in the login, during the login time, we are going to the database and access the credentials. Right? We got the credentials. Until here, this is the same as session based login. Session based login, token based login is almost same until here. Until validation, validating credentials. After credential validation, here we are creating it. So get the secret key. See, this is the one. So secret key. So sometimes normally people will keep the secret in app server. Okay, some normally keep in a database. Secret key, retrieving secret key is efficient because we are going to store in a database. It's a simple table, it's not having more information, so retrieving is too fast, so there is no complexity or performance impact for retrieving the key, secret key. Okay, after validating a credentials, we are retrieving the secret key from the database. Basing on that secret key, we are generating a token. Okay, see the difference in the session sorry, in the session based, after validating credential we are creating a session, but here we are retrieving the secret key from the database, and after that we are generating a token, and that token we are sending back to the user. See, after generating a token, we are not storing the token in the database. That step is eliminated. It saves a lot of time. Okay, and we are sending back the token to the user, that is access token, and for each request we got the token. This token we need to validate, right? For validation, we can retrieve that secret key from the database and validate the token, because the token is generated based on a secret, so we need to verify the token using that same secret key. So we will verify token, then we will get a pass or fail. Any questions here? See, just compare with the session based and token based login. See, here there are two DB calls. Secret key, for getting a secret key there is a DB call for validation and generating. that db call it not take much time, because the key is available in a table. The table is having less information, maybe hard 10 20 less than 100 rows. So retrieving the key is um, not a big deal. Okay. Yeah, any questions here?
That secret key is a user specific or a common for all the users?
No, it's not a user specific, it's a common, because we are going to create a key
Okay.
using a secret. That is a common for everyone.
Okay. And the token in the app server is validating, right? The token.
Yeah, so token we are
But that generated token,
Hmm.
is it saved previously?
No, it is not saved anywhere. That's what the concept
How
is, that
it is
one.
verified?
Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so anyway, that's the concept that's coming. But I'll tell you one thing.
Okay, that is a different concept. Okay.
Yeah, so that's but the token, this is a token system. How we are validating generating token is a separate concept.
Okay.
Okay. So there are multiple ways. So normally standard way is JWT token. Okay, that process I will explain. But before explaining that, let me explain the concepts of encrypting, decrypting, all the stuff. Okay, let's take in WhatsApp. So nowadays you are seeing forwarded these many times, or forwarded many times. Are you observing that? If you see any photo or video is coming, in the top of that we are seeing forwarded many times. Have you observed that?
Yes.
Yeah, so earlier we'll not see that, but nowadays we are seeing. Do you know why? There is a concept called hashing. I'll tell you that. So the hash function is kind of encoding. So what the hash will do is, if you passing the same one information, we'll get the same output for that information. Let's say you are passing x. Okay, let's say there is a concept called hashing function. For that, if you pass x, you should get y. So if you pass x, you always get y. That is hashing. Okay, so for verification, so normally what we'll do, you will not decode that. Instead of decoding, again we'll convert it. I'll tell you. So in this, see, photo. So you are upload a Facebook. You uploaded a photo in a Facebook. Okay. So for that, what Facebook will do is, for your photo, they will calculate a hash value. Okay. Let's take a P1. Photo is P1, and we'll get a hash value is H1. The P1, if other person, somewhere unknown person, some other place, if they upload P1, for that P1, you will get a hash value H1 only. Okay. So basing on that, Facebook will identify how many people uploaded this photo by just converting it to hash value. They will not decode and compare how many updated. You are getting my point?
Yes, Chandra.
That's kind of encoding. So let's say if it is a what we call JWT is the input. For JWT, if you convert using a hash code, maybe you will get a T1. So wherever you use that function, if you pass JWT, you always get a T1. So that's why in WhatsApp, with the same video or same photo or same text, if you are forwarding, first time WhatsApp, what it will do, it will calculate a hash function. Every time when you are uploading, it will calculate a hash function. And that hash function, they will store hash value in the database. Photo 1, H1. If some unknown person uploads the same photo, P1, you will get H1. So independent of the relationship between the uploaded people, we got H1 value. So they will update H1 value count. So H1 count is 2. Next, if somebody uploads the same photo, we'll get H1 value 3, H1 value 4. That's what. They will not verify by decoding. Okay, just converting. That is the advantage of token. Here we are just converting kind of thing. You got my point? Any questions?
No, no.
Okay, yeah, so the same way JWT token also we have a concept called this one. We'll use that. How? While encrypting we'll use the secret, and while decrypting we'll use the secret. Okay, so let's see. So JWT things, just to high level this one. I'll explain these things. So it's a lightweight. So it's a lightweight and it's easy to interchange. The data format is very lightweight. So it's a JSON. It is generated at the server side and stored in the client side. Okay, you should understand this one. So we're comparing with the session based and token based. Session is generated at the server side and stored at the server side, whereas this token is generated at the server side and stored in the client side. It's stateless. Okay, it's a short in time. That's anyway we discussed that. So this is specific to JWT token. That's a JAR token. We'll call it a JAR token. So JAR token is a structured based. It is having a 3 fields: header, payload, signature. Okay, so these are 3 fields. Structure is having a header, payload, signature. We'll discuss about that. And so this thing is secret. So signature is encoded depending on a secret. So secret should be private and it should be updated regularly. Okay, so that is a key thing you need to remember. So advantages anyway, so I think we already discussed that advantages. So very useful for microservices architecture, a quick time in validating the token. So no DB calls, used for API based system. It's easy to read and write for human. Okay, and it's also easy to understand by machines. It's simple. Okay, yeah, limitation anyway, you need to update a secret regularly. Okay, it's stored in the client side. So see, you need to understand this one also, that token is not restricted to a people, so anybody can access. You need to remember that, because that is a client side. We don't know what is a client system, who is going to access that, we don't know. That's why you should remember that if it is a client side information, it is going to be accessed by everybody. It's not only that person. If any information is in a client side, that client side information is like a public information. That's what you should remember. We don't know, because of that, whether that client or customer is using a public machine or maybe in sensitive network. Okay, so in that case we should treat that as a public information. If anything is a client side, you should, as a developer, as a business, you should assume that's a public information, even though it will call as a secret, but it should be, it is a public information. Okay, so let's see. So JW token structure, we have a header, payload and structure, signature. Header, so this information we can read. I'll show that as well. So header is have a JSON. It's a ALG. These are a predefined thing. Okay, it's signing algorithm and token type. That's the information it is having. This is a public information. And the payload, that payload is normally exp is the one, it's the expiry value, and remaining thing user data 1 2 3, those things you can give. It's a customizable. Okay, you can, depending upon the application, you can use that data. Okay, this is the customer information. Token contains expiry date and customer information. That is what you should understand. And the signature is this one. See, hash value of header, payload and secret. See, hash value. So while verifying, we are going to do hash value. We will not check so how to get that one. So if you pass the same value, you will get always the same hash value. That is the advantage of hash, right? So this is a sample token. If you see JW token, it should be like this, separated by dots. See, I highlighted with the three different colors: blue color dot, some other color dot, some other color. Okay. Yeah. So this example, that is a theory. This is example. Algorithm HS256, type is JWT. This is some information I implemented while implementing some thing. So I include, see, that information should not be sensitive information. Okay, it's always a generic information you should keep in the payload. You should not keep password, or should not give use CVV or credit card number. Those, that information you should not use. Okay, so because it's sensitive information, this is visible to everybody because token is a public one. See, whereas for signature, hash value of base 64 code of everything. So base 64 of header, base 64 of payload, and secret. That secret is the important here. If secret is open and your system is gone, that's why you should always update secret regularly. Any questions? Yeah, I think that's it. Any questions here?
Chandra,
Yeah.
secret we have to update regularly, right?
Right.
How often we will update that?
Yeah, that depends upon the how sensitive your information is. Okay, normally 1 week, that's what I heard. But some people may do it in every day. Okay, so because updating is not a big deal, right? Every day may start of the day or something like that. Off peak time you can update. Okay, that's a regular job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This all JWT, everything will happen in server side, right?
You're right. It should be in server side. Okay. So this basically, so JAR token is a concept, that process we can use for everywhere, not only for login. So if you want to make any token based system, you can use this one. Okay. That is what you should understand. This a token based system is for giving access, this kind of thing, validity, all the stuff. Okay, so it's not only for login scenario, you can use for other scenarios as well.
That hash value, what we created in a secret key, will be used in from client side.
Oh, okay. That's what. See, this is one of the question I always ask in an interview, and 90% is not going to answer this. Okay, so I'll tell. See, you generate the token. Let's see a demo. Let me. I don't know. Yeah. Where are we? We have seen this one, right, yesterday or in the last session. Let's go to another session. CD API demo. We have, let's see this one. Where is this? JW demo I have created. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. See, that secret here for our simplicity purpose I have taken here. This is a secret. Okay. It should be any key. And the algorithm is this one. For generating a token, username. These are the two fields. So now when I create a token, I'll get a token with some 32. That's a token that contains this username is test and exp is some expiry date. You got my point?
Yeah.
So whereas for validation, for validating, right, how we are going to validate is, right, so this token we need to decode it. When we are decoding, so what information we are expecting? Username and the value is test. Okay, so this username will change for each user. when you decode it, whenever the request comes to the processing, we'll decode it and we'll check for that information, whether that information is valid or not. You're getting my point?
Yeah.
In the validation scenario, validated token scenario, we'll decode. For the decode, we need a secret, the same secret. While we are creating, we are using a secret, right? This is the same secret we are using here to decode.
That means the secret key, the client should have also that secret key.
No, this is not at the client. Validation should not happen at a client side. Validation will happen at a server side, and should happen at the server side only, right?
Okay.
You got the login request. After login is success, you are sending a bank details. So you are sending API request to the server, right?
That token again, they will send it from server. I mean client, right?
Right, right. That is the flow, right? Every request should have this token. Okay. So here, after getting the token, that token is in a header, right? HTTP header. We'll retrieve the token and we'll process that. Here, this is a validating. After decoding it, we got the payload. This payload should contain a username, because that username we already encoded with this information. Okay. If the token is coming from a test user, I'll check for test. If the request is coming from a test 1, I'll verify for test 1 user. If it is not matching, that is an invalid scenario. Okay, so token is having information that we need to take. This is a validation process. And even though you have that one, if it is having an expiry date, you should throw in a token is expired. Any questions? Let me run this one, so and see. So yeah, for this one, initially I created a new token. Okay, so that token I'm validating, and the next one I'm giving a dummy token and checking whether that's a valid or not. After that, let's see, valid token, just given it number 1 2 3 4, and let's see this one. P3 JWT. One is a valid token, next one is token expired, next one is invalid token. There are 3 things happened. Let's see. This is a valid token because I just created a token, and again I'm sending for the validation because this is just created, so it's a valid one. Okay. And line number 53, I created a long back, so the token format is valid, but it got expired. That is what it is giving. The expired means time expiry date I'm checking here. And the next one I'm giving 1 2 3 4, but the token format is header dot payload dot signature, right? That format we are not sending, we're just sending 1 2 3 4. For that it is giving a invalid token. You got my point? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll stop here for today.
Let's take a login case scenario.
Okay. 1 minute.